Hey guys, Gina and Dave back at Roseanne's kitchen table, and Gina actually sent me this story this morning, and I thought it was pretty great, so I wanted to do it. An airline stewardess, are they called stewardesses still?
Flight attendants.
A flight attendant.
Do it Mad Men
Is
style.
that offensive? I offended somebody probably.
It's okay.
A flight attendant, a wonderful, wonderful woman. Thanks, Jake. A wonderful woman. She wrote a piece in Huffington Post sort of laying out all the lingo that flight attendants use with each other to describe themselves, to describe what's going on the plane and what's going on with the passengers. And it's a great list, and we wanted to read a couple of them for you. So first up is a deadhead, and that's when a crew member flies as a passenger but does not work on the flight because the airline needs to get them from one location to another. So that's a deadhead.
And I've heard that like as a verb, like I got a deadhead back to Seattle, and I'm like, what is that? What does jam bands have to do with anything?
That seems like a pretty inefficient way of, like, you'd think at this point with computers now and
Right.
everything, they'd be able to get everybody, like wherever you go, they can somehow get you out of there, but I guess it's just not.
You got a deadhead.
It's not the case. What else? What else?
Oh, this is one of my favorites. If you're a gallery queen, you're a flight attendant working in the a galley queen.
Yeah, galley.
How often do we? I'm not a pirate. Sorry, I'm not used to saying galley.
Yeah, that's all right.
A flight attendant working in the galley position who's very territorial and won't allow uninvited guests to step or lounge in his or her office.
I do notice that a lot. Like, they're very protective of that back area.
Yeah.
You know, they have access to the juice back there.
Right.
And some of the other.
It's like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
But I take that very personally because I got to get out of my seat, man, or I will lose it.
Freak out.
Yeah, I got to sit on that aisle or
Yeah.
I will lose my mind.
Yeah.
And I got to do a little stretch and a little hi, how are you? And if they shoo me out of there, I am screwed.
Yeah, I'm not a great flyer, actually.
Yeah.
And I have a flight to New York in a couple weeks, and my flight going, I am in a middle seat at the moment. And,
To me, that's better than a window seat.
because then you're really like trapped, and then you can see the gremlin on the wing and everything.
Exactly, the colonial woman churning butter. And I am convinced that if I fall asleep next to a window seat, that side of the plane will fall off. Welcome to this.
Yeah, that's a lot right there. Let's see what else. They've got crop dusting. Now, crop dusting, you may know what crop dusting is. It's a common term in regular society too. That's when a flight attendant walks by someone and releases gas. Now that happens commonly. Waiters do it, and regular.
Do they?
Well, just people do it.
Waiters?
People are walking and farting, and so it's
As
a term.
I'm digging into my flan, I'm getting crop dusted.
It's very possible.
Oh my
What
God.
else?
Baby Jesus. Apropos for the season,
Yeah.
this is an infant passenger whose parents treat it with the utmost importance, which may result in a lack of polite behavior to the rest of the cabin.
Oh yeah, I mean the baby people everywhere. Like there's a
Yeah.
gajillion stand-up bits about this, but the baby people don't care about anybody.
No.
It's just all about the baby.
However, I did read an article this morning saying that you are not, as a parent, supposed to hand out little treats and goodies to people saying, I'm sorry if my baby cries. We're adults, we don't need candy, we should understand that babies cry.
Right, we want money, I think is the point.
Exactly.
A miracle flight is when elderly passengers require assistance to board the plane, but miraculously do not need wheelchairs anymore when it's time to leave. That one's pretty good. You know, you do see that all the time, like people in the carts. You know, they have those modified golf
rascals.
carts or whatever that is,
Yeah.
being driven by an airline employee, and but they don't look that old, they don't look that infirm, but they just want the ride.
Yeah,
People want the ride.
you feel like a VIP.
That's pretty good.
This is kind of weird. This gets kind of cultish. The crash pad. This is an apartment or home that crew members share as a spot to sleep between flights, sometimes with up to 30 beds or more. I would like to see a flight crash pad and see what the vibe is, but it's like a key party.
It's got to be completely nuts, right?
Yeah.
Like all these people coming and going. I feel like they're probably a bunch of. I was about to say they're all hooking up, but actually.
Well, back in the day, they used to be smoking hot.
Right.
Now, it's more inclusive.
Yeah. And clearly, people that aren't smoking hot never have sex. Okay. Crew juice is a special beverage shared among crew members during an overnight stay, usually concocted from ingredients found on the aircraft. But you didn't hear this from me, according to the woman who wrote it. So I don't know what she's saying there.
Is it like prison wine? You just take whatever you can and like let it sit in a cheesecloth overnight?
I think so, yeah. Like they're just making any sort of alcoholic beverage that they can put together. That's not very reaffirming of
It's not. And
safety.
I can't believe this didn't, as a precaution, didn't make the list. Don't ever drink water that isn't bottled, coffee or tea, because the tanks in those things haven't been cleaned since like 1962. All right, hot
Insane.
bunking.
Uh-oh. Yeah, what's that?
This is actually originally a military term for when a crew member's bunk has been occupied by someone else just before them, so it's still kind of hot. Like when you sit in somebody else's seat and it's warm.
Yeah, that's kind
It's
of
a hot
gross.
bunk.
They don't want to be around that. The slam clicker, which if I had read fast would have sounded like something else altogether. A crew member who doesn't socialize during overnight stays, but rather beelines for the hotel room, slams the door and doesn't come out. That's
I'd be a slam clicker.
yeah, like just these, they work and then they work. I
Yeah.
kind of respect that
Yeah.
though. Like you work as long as you do your job right. then-
Yeah, I don't want to go meet you down at the Hilton Lounge for a dollar cocktail.
Yeah.
The coach roach, a crew member who really enjoys working in the coach class. God bless you.
Yeah, good
That's
for-
where you're going to find me, so I'm happy to see you.
You know what? I've never sat in first class
In your life?
In my entire life. That's basically true. One time, a company thing did get me a first class ticket, but it was a flight from Detroit to New York, and the plane was so small that all first class meant was that I was in the first seat of the
that's not
plane.
first class.
But there was no
Yeah.
special. I'm a believer that the people in first class, they should board last because I don't think they should have to look at us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
depressing.
Yeah.
They sit there and they have all their fancy stuff, and then they have to watch us.
Yeah, give me
regular-
you're poor, you're tired,
Yeah.
you're sick. Yeah, it's like at Ellis Island.
They shouldn't be
line.
subjected to us, or at least it should be one-way glass where they can gawk at us, but we can't see them. Because I don't like making eye contact with them, and then it's like, oh, you saw my sad life.
Although I think it's the other way around. They would rather enjoy their champagne coulis while they watch us walk by, but we're not allowed to look at them.
but we're not.
Avert your
It
eyes.
could go either way. It could
Yeah.
go either way.
Okay, a crotch watch. This is when an attendant walks through the cabin doing a seatbelt check. That is called a crotch watch.
That's
Makes
it's
sense.
pretty straightforward. And finally, landing lips are used when applying fresh makeup before the plane lands. Which makes sense because
do
you know
that
when
all
you
the
get the
time.
bye-bye,
Yeah.
bye-bye, watch the Ellen bit, bye-bye. You like to have, you
SNL.
want them to be
Yeah.
fresh and
Old school, yeah.
Any other any final thoughts on this list?
It's a job I'd never want to do, so I appreciate that somebody out there wants to do it. I like to travel for free, but not as an indentured servant.
There you go. Are you guys big flyers? Do you like to fly? Next time we'll do a little bit more on personal flying habits. Let us know in the comments right down below.